a family house of like 12 or 15 people, and they didn't associate with us, and we didn't really associate with them. We said good morning, hello, hi, that's it. I really love this place, and it was kind of small, so it had like maybe one closet, but then they had like these openings, like these little storage spaces, and it was really low. Like my son was about my son was about 8, and he could kind of fit through the spaces door. He kind of played in the closed spaces, like they were like little closets, but they were real little. Like if you was building a room in an attic, and the extra space, you kind of just built little doors to it and made it storage space, so you couldn't stand up in it. My son couldn't even stand up in it, and he was only 8. There was about 6 of those storage spaces inside the apartment. Each one kind of cut off the other one, like you couldn't walk through one and go through the next. They each one cut off each other. You had to open up each door to be able to get into each space. So one day it was pouring down, raining really, really hard. And I was working on my website for my florist, and it got really late. I told my children to go ahead to bed, but they kept on playing around, and they wouldn't go to bed unless I go to bed. And we all 3 kind of slept in the same bed because at the time, that's all I could really afford was to get something just to keep us from being homeless. I was telling them a story, and they were laughing and giggling. And outside my bedroom is the stairs that go down to the front door. Like there's no, it's just a little hallway that go down like this. Maybe about 16 stairs. And then all of a sudden, I heard this stomp, like a step. And it was like this. Then again. Then again. And I told my children, be quiet, do you hear that? And it was coming again. And it was getting higher and higher and higher. And my daughter said, Mom, somebody coming up the stairs. And my son said, I'm scared, I'm scared. I said, no, nobody's coming up the stairs. And at the time, no one really knew where I lived at because I had only been living there for about a couple of months. No one had a key to our place. I even changed the lock so that the landlord didn't have the key. And then we all got quiet and we heard it again. It was like, and my son said, who's there? And I looked at my son, I said, stop it, be quiet. And we heard it again, coming up the stairs. And when it got to like, maybe like, it sounded like halfway up the stairs, I was like, don't come no further. I got a bat. I had nothing. I was in my bed. And my daughter, she squeezed real close to me. And she put the cover over her head. And my son started shaking. And I said, And then all of a sudden, we heard these little kids, and they sound like they was about between 2 and 5, or like just little kids. And they were laughing, and they were playing, they were running. And we looked to the left, because in the left we have a window, and we have a big wall, and we could see right out the window. But then we had this large wall, and you could feel when they ran, the whole apartment shook. They was like running through the house, and the apartment just shaking, 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 shaking. Then I started holding on to my kids, and I started praying. My son was like, Mom, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. I was like, just be quiet, be quiet. And then the little kids, they were laughing, and they were laughing loud, and it was real ugly. And so I started yelling, stop it, stop it, stop it. My daughter, she was so scared she couldn't even speak anymore. And so when it got to the point when they came across one wall, and then I could hear them running through on the next wall. And then when you leave out the bedroom, it's the stairs, and then it's the living room right there at the top of the stairs, and you can hear them go through the wall in the living room. So I jumped up out of the bed, and I ran to the living room, and I went, and I slammed open the little storage space. It was one can be in your walls. Trust me, no one's there. I said, I'm telling you, little kids was running through the walls and somebody was walking up the stairs. It sounded like they had on cowboy boots. And he said, okay, me and my wife is on our way over there. So they only live right next door. So they comes over to the house. And me and my kids meet him at the door downstairs. And I told him that I want him to let me in downstairs to show him that somebody is in here, that somebody was in our walls. When I opened up the door, it was a very small space for the water heater and the sewer. And the apartment was built up high, and underneath it was very thin layers, like for installation. No one could like run through it or walk through it or anything. And he showed me the stairs, and the way my stairs was made, it was made going up from us to walk on, but no one can climb up the stairs at all. There was no way. There was nothing there. And I started to look crazy. And I told him, I said, I know this sounds crazy. I know that you think I'm nuts, but I am telling you, my kids are my witness. People were in our walls. The whole apartment was shaking. So then it was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I said, well, I can't stay here anymore. He said, well, just go ahead and look for a place and I'll give you back your deposit and you can stay for 30 days till you find your place and you don't have to pay a deposit. And I was saying to myself, that was too easy. I think he knew that something spooky was going on in that place. So there you go, you guys. Check out my phenomenal spooky story experience. I didn't stay 30 days. I found a place in 3 days. I was out of there. Me and my children went and stayed in a hotel for like 3 days. I'll never forget it. Me and my daughter and my son, we talk about it sometimes. But my son said he don't like to talk about it because it really freaked him out. And then my daughter, she said it still scares her till this day. She still remembers everything that happened. Now, as far as me, I'm going to tell you what I think. Because I think about it all the time. I wonder if somehow or another that maybe time has collapsed, like we were somewhere at another time, and somehow we can feel them and they can feel us. I don't know. That's what I feel like. I don't feel like that it was ghosts. I feel like it was like a time warp. I don't know. Is that crazy? What you guys think?